Slow down your mind. Slow down these days. Slow down these moments. I'm slipping away. Time won't you wait for me? Time, she never waits. Oh, please wait for me. It's a river one way.
Okay, hello and welcome. Welcome to what was day or the start of day 10 of trading just gold. And the idea, of course, is to take us from $100 to $1 million in 100 trading days, right? Which basically works out to be about 5 months based on all the available trading days. And just a little something here to help us to stay on track. I've actually set out a few things. One is the balance currently of the account after the said, well, it's not actually after 10 days. So I should be trying to talk about when after 10 days, what it should be like. So by the end of today, the target based on the pace should be $259. That's what the account should be at to stay on pace to make it to that value. And currently the balance as we start today is at 335 and a bit. So we're slightly ahead of the curve. And if you factor something else in, which was somewhere along the way, on the first weekend, I went off the reservation and I actually added some money to the account because I was trading Bitcoin over that weekend. We basically are very, very close to the pace. So you minus off the $60 that I added into the account, and then we're a lot closer to the target value right now. But just wanted to make sure that everyone is seeing this properly. And what I mean by everyone, of course, is just myself, right? I'm here to be accountable to myself. This is my live journaling, if you like, for what I'm doing. And right now, what I'm doing is I'm having a little bit of a well, I would say a kind of a challenge in terms of what I see in the market and how to approach it. It seems like two things are happening at the same time, right? There seems to be quite a persistent story of a sell, but at the same time, it's just not really broken up that way. So what I mean by that is by looking at this particular setup, for instance, this is the H4. By the way, we're not in a hurry to do anything right now because there's no clear signal yet. Although once this candle closes, and if it closes very significantly to say that it's back into a bull run situation or a buy situation, it's not confirmed yet. So it's always going to be about what happens in the final minutes of this, right? But yeah, let's look at that. Look at this for now. So for now, on this chart, I would say, let me just get the color of this right as well. I'd say for now, this still looks like it's going down, although this is a big hint that the times they may be a-changing, as someone once said. But for now, yeah, the trend still over the weekend and into this has been down. Although this morning, if you look at the start of the day, to me, it looked like it was it's pushing up, but it's coming up against a ceiling like that. And why this may not be a foregone conclusion to me, as in, like, even though the look of it is like it's might be heading up that way, if you look at it from the other perspective, this perspective here, that story is something that we can certainly think about. It's possible. The reason why it doesn't seem to be like completely in for me is that I'm seeing quite a bit of push down. Right? This is just maybe the market putting up its final stance on this. But to me, it does look like it's not done, as in, like, the sell's not done. That's just what it looks like to me, and I don't know what to make of it. To me, this would be a real good reason to consider this pushing down. I mean, we kind of have a triple top, all of it engulfing down. All of that is sort of the signal to me. And what I guess is something to think about is that despite all this happening, this thing hasn't just shot down like that. In fact, it didn't go there, it didn't go there. It's holding on to that. So that's probably a reason to go, maybe something else is going on here. Despite really strong, I mean, not really, really strong, but strong enough to be efforts to push it down, it's held. It's been supported here like that. So which leads me to think, okay, well, it's not quite settled yet. We don't know what to do. And we are supposed to approach this in a kind of a cowardly sort of way, right? We're trying to get in there, not being a hero. So anyway, I came in to do a little bit of this morning because it was a busy morning, and so I wasn't able to start this any earlier. And I do have to leave at about 1 o'clock, which is only about 25 minutes from now. And that is for an appointment with a good friend that I'm trying to keep on a regular basis. So I'm trying to do a few things in my life to get better at just doing things in general, right? So not just trading. This particular device, this particular thing, streaming live, is my device to help me try to stay on track, right? It's to me to follow the rules, to stay calm, to go slow, prevent myself from trading. Like, for instance, later on when I'm on my way to my appointment, what I want to be doing is wasting my time some other way. No, I mean, not wasting my time, but not be trading, to not be on the train trying to figure out what the trade is on my phone. The idea is to settle in and situate my brain, acclimatize my brain to the idea that I can trade as and when opportunities show themselves, and then that might be for me a way to approach things. So the only thing I can see right now is a little bit, if anything, of a little bit of a channel. Seems to be going down a little bit like that. And I mean, look, it's not big game fishing by any means. Let me see what this would look like if I did that. Okay, 300 bars. I guess no one's gonna hate that. Yeah, but the challenge is moving in a way that is going to be, I guess, highly profitable, and this is really, really small cakes for now. If I did something, it'll be kind of just for fun, that kind of thing, which I'm not sure well, I'm not sure. I know for sure I'm not supposed to be doing. And if anything, it'd be based on the idea that the price hasn't been able to push beyond this price for quite a while. It's coming to the edge of it. It has a little bit of a down push as well, with 20 minutes to the completion of the H4, which looks like this currently. So it would seem very much to be counter to this particular rather large candle. So yeah, as mentioned before, look, that's what I think is curious about this and something to learn from as well, is that we've had these pretty significant, otherwise pretty significant signals. They're all engulfing bear candles. And what's interesting about it is they have tried to break down back below this level here, but it seems to be defying gravity right now. Everything's just not gone above that level. It's holding above that, below that line. So not gonna lie, it's also a little bit about me trying to hit the targets, right? This tendency to want to get to the target, to meet the goal every day. And that isn't easy to resist because, you know, to take action feels like you're always doing the right thing, moving towards what you need to get done. And so I want to, you know, do something. I want to take the action that I think can make a difference. And it might well be that there might be an opportunity here, but it's going to be very small, and it's going to be in this kind of a noisy space where everyone's, yeah, the range is really small here. There's no real clear motion, and there is going to be this little, I think, a little opportunity here to sell, and maybe enough of an opportunity here. There's about 300 points in this, but only if it starts showing up a little bit. So if this shows some kind of strong push or something that is tradable, we might look at this. If there's some kind of a push up and a rapid push down, we could just trade the move. But for now, this is really nothing really big that's happening. What this is beginning to show me is a little bit of a flirting with the line, right? It's coming up, pushing down, coming up, pushing back down again. We'll see if it gets pushed down really away from that line. And the challenge in what we're supposed to be doing with this particular strategy is we're supposed to be taking high probability trades, and that is why we don't take everything, because there are many setups. You know, I mean, this could be this could very well be this could well be a setup that we could consider, because in terms of the risk, if we are trading based on this little risk here, this is 61.64 points for 300 points. That's not a bad sort of calculation. And it might be worth, taking the risk, but it's kind of moved away from that as well. So the numbers are a bit different now. And my mentor is trying to help me remember that whenever we play, so to speak, in the 1 minute chart. So this is the 1 minute chart for gold. We're kind of entering gangland territory, right? Where there are little skirmishes, hit and runs, whatever. It's not the big, huge moves by the big players. It's smaller players and smaller waves within the big movements, right? So there are all these little knife fights that happen along the way. And while we could, profit from it, there's also quite a bit of risk there. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. Does it all get settled in just a moment when it gets turned back down, or does it take, like what we see here? There's a little bit of time before some of these things settle out. But we do see. I mean, for me, what I do see is the line being held. So this is a not insignificant level here. Something about this is the level for now, right? And that's part one. Part two is the fact that this is what we see so far right now on the H4, right? It's a huge, huge, huge push down. Beg your pardon, huge, huge, huge push up, right? In terms of what's happened in the last 4 hours since the last session. So H4 would be a very, very significant signal to the market. H1 as well, signaling, it's signaling that it has gone higher than the previous high, right? Which is a sign, again, significant signal that the market is getting ready to go up. But all that is in the light of signals that seem to be pushing down. So what's interesting about that for me is just really that the contrast, if you like, to me, one of the things that I've been figuring out is if you get very, very strong signals to go one way and then the market doesn't comply, then it tends to head off in the other direction, right? So in the small chart, like right now, if you're just looking at the small chart, it feels very much like the sell is definitely on here, right? Yet at the same time, what's happening on the bigger chart is completely the opposite. What is actually forming is the start of what looks like the start of a significant push up. And this could just be a really big trap being set by the big players, and it's gonna trap a bunch of people to enter cells. And then when the trap snaps, this could go really strong, in the buy direction. It's only what I'm seeing here that makes me feel this has any kind of credence at all, right? It's the fact that we have all these engulfing candles. These are candles that have pushed back from a line so significantly that it should push the price down, but yet the price hasn't gone down. So it makes me go, all right, then maybe it doesn't count. Let's see, where is that line? I thought I had one of the, yep, here you go. So do we have actionable intel, so to speak? Okay, maybe we do. Just 400 points of a pullback. If that's the risk that's down, and that's where it could go to. It's another 400 points. It's 400 for 400, which is not very attractive. It's not insignificant, but it's not terribly attractive. So let's see. It's up to here. 700 points. So that's something to think about. Basically, what I'm doing is having a look at what's happening here previously. And it's all a little bit messy. And if it's all messy on the way down, it's going to be messy on the way up. Usually, it seems to work the same way. So that means that if we do a trade that is going to be entering into that zone, passing through there, it's not going to be just an easy, like sort of a smooth move. We want moves to be as far as possible. We try to look for moves that move like this, right? Nice and smooth and quickly. And that usually comes when you don't have any kind of bad traffic from the past to deal with like that. If you see, it's just nice and clear. So this is a bit noisy. This is a bit bumpy. And it's also getting very close to when I have to head out. So I might not be able to do any kind of management of the trade. But yeah. And this might be the start of the move. And that's going to be frustrating for me. But, it's just the way it is. We have to wait for the signals to confirm so that we can take action on what we need to do. So again, we look at what looks like is about to happen, but we don't know yet. We don't know for sure, but what looks like it's about to happen. And if this is the situation in the next 10 minutes or so, you have a really strong signal here of the market turning up. It does not mean that when you get the signal that the market is turning up, that it's going to go up immediately, right? It takes time for the market to then do the rest of it, because what happens is there is a pullback. There's always going to be a pullback as the market's doing what it does. So like if you get a big strong signal like this, the mistake is to go therefore at that point to buy. No, what you're doing is at that point you are then turning on you're arming your missiles, arming your weapons to look for a buy, but you don't buy yet. So that's the sitting on hands part, which is going to be the challenging part of all this, right? Just to reiterate some of the stuff, and the reason why it's all being done, the camera, again, like I said, is me actually saying it out to myself, but knowing that somebody else is hearing me say it as well. That's the accountability part. What needs to happen is we need to get a strong signal, right? Signals do not equal entry. That's another thing to think about. Don't be in a hurry to get in just because you see the signal. The signal just tells you that this is where traffic wants to go, right? It's a strong sign and suggestion that traffic wants to change directions in this particular case, or continue, whichever the case is. That's the signal. And the entry is going to be usually a little bit different from the signal. Actually, always will be different from the signal. You don't want to go in the same direction the signal as quickly as possible immediately after as well, because at that point you're literally paying the highest price possible to be part of that trade, right? So what I mean by that, like if you look at the trade that might happen after this, the signal that might form in just the next 6 minutes, a big signal, the entire market's going to see the same signal, right? Everybody's going to see a big green candle on H4 that has shown up. So it's a big monster. Um, it's a big monster in the water, right? So it is a signal that this market's going to go up, right? So what does this normally cause to happen? Well, there's going to be an initial push because the audience is going to go, this looks exciting. So everybody's saying, okay, for sure, it's going, it's going, it's going. It's going to be a bunch of people who are going to come in and they're going to buy it here, right? And almost without exception, what happens is um, that market will be bought for a bit and then sold off very quickly. And it's probably being sold off very quickly by the people who are actually behind this move in the first place, right? So what they've done is they've bought this up from here. They have bought all the way up and they brought the market up to this price. So the buyers, this sign here tells you the buyers are kind of in control, right? Uh, at this point, when the price gets up to this level or a bit higher than this, the opportunity for them is to make a bunch of profit. And it's the profit that you have made from the price changing from here to here or wherever they decide to push it down. That is the profit taking for those people who are in charge of the market right now, who seem to be the buyers. So buyers make money only when they sell. So it's not one of those things where you just buy and hold. Everybody has to go through the transaction. They have to come out the other side for them to make some money. So what's likely to happen now is going to be this big green candle is going to show up. It's going to cause quite a bit of excitement in the market. It's going to push up. And there are going to be a bunch of people who's going to be just pulled into this trade. And unless they know when to jump off very quickly, the likelihood, and I'm saying this knowing that I might be wrong about this, and that's the biggest thing that I have to think about, is that I will probably be wrong, and it doesn't matter because unless I have a trade open, being wrong is free, right? What's likely to happen is it'll push up, it'll be sold down, and the job will be to look for an opportunity to get in on the trade on the buy, right? But not immediately. So what we're going to look for is probably, and let's put it out here this way. This is on your 5-minute chart. It's probably something that might look a little bit like this, where the price is going to go up somewhat like that. Once this closes like that, we are about 5 minutes. So this last candle here could be the last candle. Probably want to push up like that and probably come back a little bit. And it could come back a little bit before it makes its run like that. That's one version of what is probably going to happen. The other is that it's going to push back even further than that, as in I come back almost all the way back to here before we have that push up eventually to where it's going to go. So if we look at that from the H4 perspective, where that line actually is, if you can have a look at that, you see where this landmark, think of it as a landmark, right? There's double yellow lines there, kind of a landmark for the price. That is frequently what happens with price. It'll move all the way up into in a direction that it looks like it's going to go eventually. But before it takes the journey on, what's going to happen is there is going to be profit taking, which results in a retest. So the profit taking is going to be such that the prices will probably fall and get pushed back, and it will get pulled back and pushed back and pushed back, and usually pushed back. If you think about it, if I'm in charge of the market and I want this market to go up, right? I'm going to take profits, right? And I know there's a point beyond which if I take profits, I'm actually going to I'm going to spoil the market, right? So I'm going to stop my selling. I'm not going to spoil the market for myself. I want the market to go up. And plus, if I only had, like buy positions, then they would have started probably about this level like that. So I wouldn't have any more inventory, so to speak, to sell it down again, right? So big players who are behind the move probably buying up the market. They're going to get us to the big H4 candle in just about slightly over a minute. And then they're going to take profits, most likely. Some of them are going to take profits immediately, right? Which could bring us back all the way to here. The market, of course, will get excited in general and probably come in as well. So before they sell, this market's probably going to go a little bit like that before they push it down. We'll see if it happens immediately, actually. Sometimes it does. And just, again, note to myself is that there is being wrong is free as long as you don't put anything down, right? Which I don't have to. All right, so big news, I would say. Big H4. Now, with the news of the H4 here, here's where you see the market. It's going to act based on what it sees. We'll see whether it moves up. Use that line there as a landmark. So the market waiting around here is waiting around for the opening of this new window to see where it's going to go. The big picture here is that this is printing as an H4 candle, which is not a small thing, right? So this is a big deal. And as I said, what's likely to happen is a bit of a push to the upside. But I think what's going to happen is going to be profit taking before the big price movement. And unfortunately, for me and my rules, I do have to close the session for now because I have to go and make this appointment that I have, which is in a few minutes. So I'm just going to say what I'm going to need to say to myself right now, just in terms of, again, what I think is likely to happen and what I'm going to be patient for. I'm going to look for the price to come back before it heads off because it's gonna want to do that. And whether I'll be around when that price move happens, it's a different story. Trading against this is probably not a good idea, right? Because even though it's very likely that all the things that I said must happen will happen, it is against a very, very strong start of a looks like a start of an uptrend, right? So it's a very strong big green candle. So you don't want to push that hard into a hurricane, right? If the hurricane's coming this way or it's changing directions, you're not going to go, I'm going to push in the opposite direction. Because a lot has to happen for you to be right in that moment, right? Currently, all the energy over the last 4 hours has resulted in the price forming this huge candle like that. So there is a lot of vested interest expressed in that big candle. And to take a trade opposite to that, while heroic, may not be the best kind of position for yourself. So you want to take a low risk, and the low risk is when the move is actually happening. So for now, there is no move. There is a market that seems to be stalled a little bit with a big H4 that's formed. It's not too sure which way it's going to go. I think everybody's watching for somebody else to do anything, if anything. In terms of trading volume as well, it's nice and polite. There's not much going on. It really, really has dropped down. So it's very low volume. Everyone's waiting for somebody else to make the move. question is, do we make the move? Does anybody make the move? Feel like making the move, but it's going to be me responding to essentially what might be a trap. Okay, up here, too high. Okay, I'm not going to just do what I usually do. What I usually do is I'll throw a little bit in to the market because it looks like it's going to be, it's right on the edge of the move, and it's possible that if it does come the other way, there's a big gain to be had. But it's very low probability, so this is not a high probability trade in any way. You know, the temptation here is to do a sell into this because there seems to be there's a story that seems to match what I think is happening, but it's really right in the face of the trend, so I'm not going to do it, even though I probably would have before. So no, that's it. I'm going to have to call it a day as well because I'm heading off. Not calling it a day, calling it a session, because I have to come back and I have to go and see a friend. I'll be back after that. So yeah, I'm just saying it for the record so that I have said it, but I am not going to take a position against it because I don't need to, and so I won't. All right. Yep, that's it. All right, take care, all. Will I be back again online today? Probably sometime later in the day after all these errands are completed, and we'll see what the market is saying then, right? But the one thing that I am going to take a note for myself here is there's again the idea that you cannot the price of being wrong can be free. It's like it can be zero, the price of being wrong, as long as you don't put down something to lose if you're wrong, and that's okay. So I get a bit of satisfaction for myself in terms of being right or wrong about stuff, which is a big thing. And at the same time, I don't risk the account. So that's the significant part of this. There's no point risking the account because that's the long-term goal, right? Protect, protect, protect. That's always going to be the case. You're trying to look after the money. I think if you read some of the stuff that Warren Buffett's said and written over the years, it's always been about that. Your job, number one job, is to protect the capital, right? So that's what we're trying to do here. Okay. See you on the other side, guys. Bye-bye.